Why, hello there. Hope everyone's having a magnificent day. I became inspired today and I said, you know what? I want to make a video for all of you incredible Days of Our Lives fans out there. Got my hot cup of coffee, French press, which I've been obsessed with for like 2 years. It's always delicious. I was thinking about my 8 years on the show, and I have accumulated many questions, whether I'm doing Instagram Live, whether I'm doing Facebook Live, or if I'm on the carpet doing interviews for Soap Digest, etc., or when I meet people at events in person, and I get asked many questions. And there's just so many pieces of content out there, from YouTube videos to radio shows to all these different platforms. And I was like, what are like the most popular questions that I'm asked that I could put into one video so that someone could actually watch it and go, oh wow, those are like the things I was really curious about. So I was sitting in my mind going, what is a question I get asked often? And as I started writing them down, I'm like, there was like 9-ish, and I was like, well, I got to make it 10 because 10 just sounds amazing. And then as I thought about it more, I go, oh wow, I actually do have 10 of the most common questions that I get asked and have been asked over the 8-year span, and I'm going to condense it and put them all in one video for all of you Sonny Kiriakis fans who are curious. And so let's hop into it. Here we go. And these are in no particular order. Number 1, what was your favorite scene? So this is always one of the biggest questions that I get, which is extremely difficult for me because I've shot about 800 episodes, and there's about anywhere from 5 to 8 scenes, 4 to 8 scenes a show, which if you average that to say 6. So I think it's fair to say that I have filmed about 4,500 to 5,000 scenes that have aired or are soon going to air on national television. And that is such a huge question for me. But as all of these scenes come and go, there are a few scenes that stick out to me that I do want to share. The number one thing that I always talk about is the scene of Will and Sonny, the episode of us getting married. And the reason for that is that was the emphasis when I first got on the show. It wasn't, let's just bring in this new young guy to just, stir up drama or start a triangle in a traditional, soap opera, amazing drama, entertaining, like backstabbing and pregnancies and like all this, crazy storylines that they tell that are super awesome. This was all of that, but with a undertone, or even the headline of it was, we need to tell a tasteful love story in a time where the equal rights movement was not where it is today. But in 2011, there weren't many storylines from the LGBTQ plus community being told on television or in movies. And we had a responsibility in daytime TV to tell this story. So as we continued to grow, to get to the point where the audience, the world, society has caught up, and Days and Sony and NBC and everybody in between had the courage to tell this story, that was such a pinnacle moment for us to be able to have a wedding where two men were sharing their love together in front of all their family and friends. And it was just an amazing scene that I will always remember. The other scene that I've always enjoyed is when I delivered Ariana in that shed. That was very interesting, because as you can tell in soap operas too, most of it is sitting down, maybe crossing to the couch because of time and money and being in a set. So any time that we're able to have some sort of prop or do something different is exciting as an actor. It's exciting to do. Or any kind of stunt. It's just different. It's different and it excites me. And the other thing I really like is when we're pressed up against the wall and we're running out of time for the day. Like, they usually have an out, whether it's 4:30, 4:50, 5 o'clock, whatever the time is, they want to stick to that schedule. And certain times, like I'm actually shooting this tomorrow, I'm last up. So if they're behind, the last scenes of the day have a responsibility. We don't have to say yes, but I always enjoy the challenge of going straight to tape, meaning no rehearsal, you just action and you go. And I love those moments where we're able to just do like 8 to 12 pages of dialogue, 4 or 5 scenes, 0 rehearsal, straight to tape, hit our marks, improv a little bit if need be, and those always turn out really exciting to me when there's like little things that happen, or if someone drops a line but you're able to save it or they're able to save it. It's really cool. So there's been a lot of moments where we've been able to go straight to tape and improvise, and you get some really cool stuff. So those have been my favorite scenes. What is it like working with the legends? You know, I could name everybody, the Deidre Halls and the Christian Alfonsos and the Lauren Koslows and the John Anistons, and I mean the list goes on. Pretty much everybody. Everyone's been on there for so long and has made a huge mark in soap opera history. It's incredible in the sense that they're amazing people. They teach me a lot. And they're just so professional and so prepared. And I like to come in, and I'm all about having fun, but I think a lot of you who know me as well, like I'm very, when it comes to work, I'm very all in and I'm all professional, and I don't goof off. I like to show up early, and I'll enjoy in the fun. But when it comes to the vets, you know, they're very much like, let's do this, and I really appreciate that. So when we have scenes, it's like, boom, let's go. And it's very just like we're ready to rock, we're ready to roll. So I really appreciate the professionalism, and it's just really cool to be able to work with people that have really just paved the way for us in the soap opera world. Number 3, how long do you get to study your lines? We usually get it about 6 to 7 days before we actually shoot. But what I found over the years is that, especially if I have a big work week, like in the past couple weeks, I've shot about 13 episodes. If I were to actually read all 13 episodes and take all my scenes out and put them together, because we get the whole script, and we have to go through, and there's like a legend in the beginning, basically, if that's what you want to call it, where you look at them and you go, oh, I'm page 1 and 2, so you take that out. I'm page 16 and 17, you take that out, and then you end up having your 18 pages or 10 pages, whatever you are, and you put your little Brad in the corner, and then that's your thing, and the rest you recycle. But if I were to look at all 13 episodes, it would give me anxiety because it's so much dialogue that I would be so panicked about. I have so much to do, and it would like mess with me. So I like to wait till the night before, and I look through it. So I'll look through it, and if I have a speech like I do tomorrow, I want to at least learn it a little bit tonight because it's like literally this long, big. I want to be able to learn it a little bit, sleep on it, go to work, perfect it, and then go and do it. But if I look through and there's no huge blocks, it's just like three or four sentences and 3 or 4 sentences, 3 or 4 sentences. That's the kind of stuff I like to learn once I'm there. I like to see what the blocking is. I like to talk about it. Sometimes the shows are short or long, so there's times that you'll memorize a page and it's cut anyway. So I have found, as long as I'm not first up, if I'm first up, you don't have time. So I won't do that. I'll learn it the night before. But like tomorrow, I go in at 12 something, and I don't shoot till 3:30. So I'll get to block, get my hair and makeup done. I'm going to have an hour and a half before I shoot. So in that hour and a half, I'll read it myself. I'll get comfortable with it. I'll go to my fellow actor that I'm working with, or actors, and I will run it with them for like 15, 20 minutes. We're like, you good? Yeah, we're good. And then we go out and we film it. That's how I do it. Many people do it very differently, so I guess it's just whatever your method is, but that's how I do it. But they give everybody about a week, and then everyone has their own method of how they like to memorize. Do I have a say in my storyline and or wardrobe? I kind of do, in the sense that I could speak up and say, hey, this would be cool, or hey, can I wear this and this? But I just feel like I like to stay in my lane at work. You know, it's like there are 1,000 people, if not more, who are participating in creating this 41-minute daily drama for you. And my part in that 1,000 is to know my lines, bring the character and storyline to life so that you at home, when you're watching it, you're affected by it in a positive way, in an exhilarating way, in an emotional way, whatever it may be. And that's what I'm paid to do. So could I, because maybe I've laid some groundwork for 8 years there and made a name for myself, I could, but I like to just refrain. I say hello, thank you, I'm always early. I like to go in and I allow wardrobe to do them. The writers do them, and just like they let me do me. Like very rarely, other than the producer or director who might have a note, that's their job to direct and give us notes of what they want. But everybody kind of stays in their lane. As an actor, I could say, hey, I'd like a meeting with the writer, or hey, I'd like to kick this around, or hey, I'd like to change my wardrobe, hey, I'd like to change my hair or do this and that. But I just kind of go with the flow. I just want to make sure I'm prepared and that I go in and I do exactly what I'm paid to do, and that's just kind of how I look at my job. Who's my favorite person to work with? There is not one person in my 8 years, and I've probably worked with, imagine the amount of people we've worked with through guest stars, through different contract players. I've enjoyed everyone that I've worked with, because every time you look at an actor in the eye, there's a different relationship. Like for Lauren Kozlov, for instance, we don't work together often, but there's something about us when we're on set. There's something that we share through our characters, our experiences, the people, like us as a friendship in general, that there's something between those two characters that feels different than, say, when I'm with Camila, or if I'm with Chandler, or if I'm with Wally Kurth, Mary Beth. Everyone I work with, Eric Martzoff, there is a different relationship and a different back and forth. So it's always exciting to me. Uncle Vic, John Aniston, like when I get to work with somebody, I'm like, this is different, this is new, what's this going to be like? But when you work with someone a lot, of course, like with Chandler, we spend most of our time working together. So that relationship you build, there's a different trust and chemistry than, say, someone like a Sal, who I haven't worked with often. Her and I talk all the time on set, but we don't work together often. So the relationship between her character and my character, we don't know as much as obviously a Will and Sonny, because we spend a lot of time together. And I know that other couples will say the same. You kind of end up creating this chemistry on screen with those you work with often, and that makes a lot of sense. So I don't have a specific favorite person. I just enjoy who I'm working with at the moment, because it's just what I'm doing. Like there's times that I'm working with this person for the next 3 weeks, and it just becomes what work is. So I enjoy everybody. I've spent more screen time with Chandler, and so that's why we've built that chemistry and trust, and I enjoy working with him just as much as I do everybody else that I don't get to work with as often. So I really enjoy working with everybody. Do you really only get one take? Yes and no. Traditionally, what we'll do is we'll block in the morning, which means, and I'll explain this later in one of the other questions, but essentially they tell you where to go. So on the scene one, Sonny's going to walk into the Kiriakis mansion. He's going to stop at the chair. He's going to say his lines. The scene will end. The next scene, you're going to go to the bar. You're going to pour yourself some water. You're going to go sit on the couch. That's what blocking is. So we'll block it, and we'll kind of just read it off the paper. So you're just reading it, and there's no cameras on you. It's just the director and the actors, and you're just reading it, and you're walking around remembering your blocking of where to go. Then it's our job to rehearse it in our dressing rooms or in the makeup room if we're stressed for time, where we'll sit and just go, okay, like when do I speak? You kind of get the flow. I personally don't make a lot of choices because I like to surprise my actors, so I won't give it 100% in rehearsals in our dressing rooms. I like to just know the beats. I never want to be in a scene and go, wait, oh crap, wait, what is my line? Oh, that's right. Like, I always want to know my beats, and then I make my choices on set. And then when we get to set, then we'll have an actual rehearsal if we have time, which is essentially everyone's involved. The boom, the microphone, the sound crew, the lighting crew, the cameras, the actors, everyone wants a rehearsal so that the cameras know where to pan. Oh, he's going to sit here. He's going to stand up. Oh, he's going to start talking there. It allows everyone to kind of come together, do a rehearsal, so when we go to tape, that everyone's on the same page. But if we don't have a lot of time and there's not much blocking, like if it's just me and you sitting here at a table drinking coffee, there's really nothing that, other than the actor, if we drop a line or something, the lighting, the mic, they get it. They're looking at the script going, Freddie, Chandler, Freddie, Chandler, Freddie, Chandler, like back and forth to the mic, they understand. But if I'm moving to the couch, if I'm moving over here, if I'm punching someone, then of course you need to rehearse that more. But traditionally, yeah, we get just one rehearsal and then we tape it. We used to be the straight to tape gang with Christopher, Sean, me, and Chandler. We just enjoy, because we prepare downstairs, and I just like, and a lot of actors don't, and I get both sides. I understand that you want to rehearse and get a feel for the beats, and you don't want to feel rushed. I get it. But for me, I like that uncertainty because it makes me feel like I have this extra, like it's almost live, where I'm like you got to go, Freddie. Like you better listen, you better react, you better, So I get both sides of it. Some people like going straight to tape, others don't. I love the challenge of it because if you mess up, you just redo it anyway. And then sometimes, if we're in a scene and we're acting, and then all of a sudden we go, if someone goes, oh yeah, and then we're gonna go to the front door, darn it. If the camera was correctly cutting back and forth or the timing worked out, sometimes they'll say, hold it, no one move. All right, Freddie, you're just gonna pick up with that line. All right, 5, 4, 3. And we're gonna go out the front door, and then we're gonna get in the car and we're gonna take you over to the Horton Town Square. Or whatever it may be. So sometimes you don't have to go back to the beginning. You can just pick it up right where you left off, which is really neat. How far ahead are you? So when I first started, we were 3 months ahead. We would shoot, 3 months later it would air. Right now, we're about 7.5 months ahead. So I don't mind. If it helps with production, that's fine. The only thing that's difficult, two things that are difficult. One, for us as actors, when you ask me what's airing now or what happens, I don't know. When I sit and watch an episode, I don't know what's going to happen. I forget because it's like 80 episodes ago and like 300 scenes. Every now and then I'll go, oh, I know what's happening, of course. But like a lot of it you forget. And then for the writing, if the audience isn't liking something, you have 7 months of it. So, it is what it is. But I know they're doing it for production. There's a lot that goes into it. And but right now we're 7.5 months ahead. What does my role mean to me? This is something that, yet again, has been what we signed up for, is that we wanted to make an impact. We wanted to tell a story. We wanted to make a positive impact in people's lives. And there was something special about soaps, about Days, because it's generational. It's very rare that a 17-year-old, a 36-year-old, a 62-year-old, and a 98-year-old are all going to watch the same thing. Days of Our Lives is generational, and sometimes to create and share a perspective with someone, it's really great to have multiple generations all watching the same thing, being on the same page. And I think we did a really good job of telling that, and I'm just happy to be a part of it, that what I get to do for a living, that I enjoy for my job, is not only making me fulfilled and happy, but that the people watching are being able to relate. They're able to be true to themselves, and we have a small part in that, and sometimes a big part. So I just feel super honored that it has been so incredibly well told, and that we're like everyone else. I love what they've done for the 8 years, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. What's a typical day on set? A typical day is essentially like tomorrow. I'm not up until the end of the day. I'm in 2 different sets, and I go in at 12:15. So I'll go in at 12:15. I'll get my hair and makeup done right away. So at 12:30, we break for lunch. Let me start from the beginning. This way I don't confuse everyone. So the earliest anyone goes in is 6:30 a.m., and that's if it's a female, because their hair, makeup, whatever it may be, takes longer than putting a little gel and calling it a day with me. But for me personally, the earliest I'll ever be there is 7 a.m. From 7 to 7:30, I get my hair and makeup done. From 7:30 to 8:45, for that hour and 15 minutes, is when we dry block the first half of the day. So we shoot about 60 scenes a day. The first 30 we do between the morning and our 12:30 lunch break. So we'll get called up, Kiriakis Mansion, John Aniston, Freddie Smith, Chandler Massey come to set. We sit there, we do our coffee couch, walk here, you yell at Uncle Vic, you walk out, you come back in, blah, 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 you make a phone call, all the blocking. Then I come back, I get dressed, and if we're first up, I'll only have about 30 minutes. We'll run with John Aniston, Chandler, me, we'll run. We go out at 8:45, we film our 6-7 scenes, and if we aren't in anywhere else, if we didn't run to the hospital or the Horton Town Square that episode, then we're done. There's times I get out of there at 9:45 and I go home. But let's say that I do run to the Horton Town Square. Well, let's say I shoot the Kiriakis Mansion, I'm done at 9:45, but then the Horton Town Square isn't shooting until 3:30. So at 9:45, I'll be done. At 10 o'clock, I'll go walk and get some breakfast. I'll come from 11 to 12. I'll watch like some videos or do whatever. At 12:30, they'll break for lunch. They'll block us, so then they'll show me in the Horton Town Square. You're going to sit on the bench. You're going to get up, make a phone call. You turn, all of a sudden you see someone's there. You're like, what? And then you're done. And then for the next 2 hours, you're just kind of chilling. I go to lunch. I like relax. And then at 3:30, I get called to set. I do my 2 scenes. I sign out, and I go home. So it just all depends. Or like tomorrow, I go in at 12:15, 12:30. I work at about 3:30 in one set. Then I got about a 15-minute break, and then I work again. So I'll be done around like 4:30 tomorrow. But it'll be like a short day. So if you see us all in one set, that actor that day probably had a short day, about 3-4 hours. If we're in multiple sets, it's probably a 6 to 10 hour day. So that's how the whole typical day on set works. And then number 10, do you watch your work? Because we're kind of in it all the time and we're watching what's going on and everything, if it's something like really awesome, and I usually can know by the energy online if there's like something really great happening, it's all great, but like something like out of the ordinary, I'll hear about it. I'll be like, oh my gosh, there's like something like Xander scaring me with the mask. I got like a message and I was like, I remember that. I want to see if it turned out funny. So I turned it on. I was like, oh, that was really funny. Or like this is going on, so I'll check in and I'll watch it. But there's certain times I'm just kind of like, I'm so in what I'm doing that I like to check in and go, okay, cool. But I won't always watch it. But when I do, I always thoroughly enjoy it, and I like watching my friends and colleagues as well. So I watch it sometimes, and that's going to be really great. So those are the 10 most common questions that I get asked, so I hope that I've been able to answer them for you. If you have other questions I did not get to here, please leave it in the comment section below, and I will look and I will try to answer all your questions for you, or do another video of part 2 where I can answer another 10 questions. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like the video if you liked it and subscribe. It would mean the world to us. If it's on Facebook and you haven't liked the page, like the page. And if you're seeing this on Instagram, awesome as well. You probably will be following me if you see it on Instagram. So I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this and watching the show. It means the world to all of us over at Days of Our Lives. So thank you and have an amazing day.